Last week, we also asked people to send questions of things that you want us to talk about. We got this question and it kind of scared me a little bit, honestly. I was like, maybe we'll just skip over that question, but I'm going to try to tackle it. Hi guys, it's Kolby and welcome back to UNCUT BTS, where we take you behind the scenes of our podcast, our businesses, and our lives. Andrew's not here today, it's just me, and it's my first solo episode, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like if you do. Andrew's on his way back from San Diego. He and baby E and Megan went for a quick trip and ate a lot of good food, it looks like, but we're missing him. But I wanted to make sure to keep showing up for you because we said we would every Monday, and it's Monday, so it's Uncut BTS Day. Last week, we also asked people to send questions of things that you want us to talk about. We got this question and it kind of scared me a little bit, honestly. I was like, maybe we'll just skip over that question, but I'm going to try to tackle it, and I hope I don't get canceled. But the question from 2_pood, also 2poo, her question is education in Hawaii and options local families have to get quality education for their kids. All right, so I'm going to break this down a little bit. I want to make sure that nobody gets offended because private school, public school, homeschool, everybody has to make the right decision that they feel is the right decision for their child. And I'm really honestly on the fence. So most of you know that I went to a public school, Ku'u High School, which I love. Ku'u High School made me who I am today. And yes, we didn't have all the bells and whistles. We had limited programming, but I feel like I enrolled in everything, all the clubs, all the sports, prom committee, homecoming. It was amazing. And I think there's a lot of pride about coming from some place like that. And I carried it throughout my life. I'm very proud to have gone to Ku'u High School. You know, growing up, I never knew of private school kids. They weren't in my circle. So I knew, my classmates and my family members in Ku'u. And then, we had connections to people in Waiakea High School or Konawaina. And they're all public schools. So I never really had encounters or really knew people in the private school world. And of course, when you come from that kind of environment, where you don't understand the other side, there's always some negative connotation, oh, private school kids are whatever, high makamaka or entitled or spoiled. And that's just the narrative that gets told when you're coming from something that's not that. When you see all of these schools winning awards and killing it on the field, and you're like, well, they're winning because they get to pick the best players from the whole state. And so that was kind of my mentality of private school growing up. And then when I moved to Oahu, I met a lot of great people from Punahou, Iolani, Midpac, HBA, HPA, and they're just normal kids, which changed the narrative for me. I was like, okay, maybe they're not all spoiled kids. Maybe they're really great kids too. And then I started working with Punahou and Kamehameha and backtracking. My brothers both went to Kamehameha. So they both are private school kids that came from public school, and they both absolutely love their school experience. And so I always thought Kamehameha was a great school. I just wasn't for me. I wanted to stay at home. I wanted to stay with my parents. I wanted to stay in Ka'u. So, and at that time, they didn't have the Kamehameha Ke'au campus. So it was public school for me. Then I started working with Punahou, and I got to see kind of behind the curtain of what their students get to experience and all the resources that they have and all the cool things that they have on campus. And I was honestly blown away. I was like, holy smokes, this is high school. They get to have all these cool robotics labs and experiences on Hokulea and all this stuff. And it wasn't just that. It wasn't just their in-school experience, but the legacy of being a part of a school like that. I would shoot the alumni week, and all the alumni would come back from like the 5-year reunions, 10, 20, 50-year reunions, and they're so tight still, and they have this bond and this pride of their school that I have not seen anywhere else. And I was like, wow, if I can one day be able to afford to send my kid to a private school like that, like why wouldn't I? Every parent wants the best for their children, and they will work hard to make that happens. And I was like, okay, if one day I can send my kids to Punahou, I'm going to do that. So fast forward to having kids and the pressure of trying to get them into a preschool that eventually feeds into Punahou was real. People would be like, okay, you need to get on the wait list for this preschool because this preschool has connections to Punahou. And my baby was like in my tummy still. And I was like, all right, this is like a lot. I knew that eventually we wanted to be back on the Big Island and that Waimea was the destination. We wanted to raise our kids in Waimea. Waimea has HPA, which is, it's almost like a little sister school to Punahou. So I was like, I hope one day my kids will be able to go to HPA. I remember playing HPA when we were playing sports, walking into the gym and it looks like a college gym, all the banners hanging, playing soccer on the field, and it was like magical with like Kohala Mountains in the back and like the Waimea rain. And I didn't know about HPA. I didn't know of anybody who went to HPA, honestly. But just seeing the campus, I was like, wow, that school, that's the goal. Fast forward to present day, I have 2 kids going to HPA. We pay a lot of money to go there. 2 kids, 2 full tuitions. It's a lot. And I'm very grateful that Peter and I are able to provide that for our kids. But it's a stretch because it's expensive. And so we have to budget our money. We need to say no to certain things. We need to work really hard. And so now that we're in it, we're wondering if it's worth it. And as much as I love HPA and I love the school community that we're a part of, it's not a definite, yes, it's worth it. And I think that's a conversation that a lot of the people who are at the school like have to wrestle with every year. Like when tuition is coming up, it's like, is this worth it? And it's tough for me because both Peter and I went to public school and we had pretty good experiences. So I don't know why Hawaii has this big divide. There's a big divide between public school and private school. And if you aren't from Hawaii, I think people don't really understand like this divide because it doesn't happen in places outside of Hawaii. I mean, our really good friends moved to Washington and their kids in an amazing public school that they pay $0 for, and they're getting a really good quality education. I think it's just tough in Hawaii. Luckily, the teachers union, they settled on a deal last I think summertime, where their teachers will get a 14% pay increase over the next few years. So that's something. I have friends in both public and private school education and some of the best people I know, but I know that that's not the case for all teachers. I hear from teachers who want out of public school to go and teach at private. It's tough as parents because we want to give our kids the best, and it's really expensive to live in Hawaii. It's really expensive to send your kids to a private school. I would like to homeschool my kids, but I don't know if that's something I'm cut out for, especially with my workload and all that stuff. I wish I could, but it's just not a possibility right now. Peter and I talk about this constantly. I talk about it with my mom friends constantly. There's not a clear-cut situation, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the parents. It comes down to the community that you build around your kids. My daughter plays in a volleyball club that's a mixture of both private school, charter school, public school kids, and that's so good for her. Like that's my favorite thing, that she can mix in with different kinds of kids, and she doesn't think that she's better than them because she goes to private. There's always going to be those like stereotypical public school kids, stereotypical private school kids. But I think as parents, like our goal is just to have our kids be very well-rounded, very respectful, grateful for this life that we have and some sacrifices that we make. So yeah, TBD, we'll see what happens. I would love to hear from you guys and what you guys think about private versus public versus homeschool, and what you feel works for your family. Sometimes I'm like, I see the trek that we write and I'm like, I could just go on so many trips with my kids and show them the world. And in my dream life, that's what I would do. But for now, we're just kind of trying to make it work. Thank you for the questions. We will get to the other questions that came in. Thank you so much for sending them in. And please continue to send us questions. Next time, I kind of went on a rant there, but next time I'll try to like get through more questions in one episode. Um, Today we have a really special guest coming back, Lexi from Lexbreezy Hawaii, Lexi Akiona. She is killing it. She was just named Entrepreneur of the Year. She has won Social Media Influencer of the Year. She opened a brand new space at Ala Moana last summer and just climbing and climbing and rising, which is so exciting to see. We love her. We love to see this Native Hawaiian Big Island girl just make it.
Nice to see you.
Oh, good to see you. How are you?
Good. Busy, very
Yeah.
busy, but I feel like it slowed down after this holiday season and it's picking back up again right where we left off. So,
It doesn't look like it's slowing down for you. I'm like, holy, I don't know how she does all you do. I'm like, with the two little ones too.
I just came from the gym. So,
Good job.
sorry.
Is that part of your New Year routine?
Yes, focusing on our health and our
Yeah.
well being and our mind, I think is so important. I think when you grow older, you kind of realize how important that is. And as you
Mm-hmm.
watch all your family members grow older and as life gets to you, it's so important to focus on your health, and I'm just kind of learning that now.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, it's good, I feel great. Just getting your mind right, your
Yeah.
mind, your body, your soul, all of that.
Yeah, I remember one of my mentors told me early on that we're so like as entrepreneurs, we're going to push ourselves to the limit. But then,
Hmm.
in order to take care of everybody, we need to take care of ourselves first.
Right, right.
And so it's almost like I would feel bad about going to the gym. I'd be like, oh, I got so much stuff going on at home. Like, I feel bad going, or like so much
Mhm.
going on at work. But then I don't know where that guilt comes from. But I'm like, no, this is actually my responsibility to take care of myself.
Yes,
And like, then I can take care of everybody else.
yes, yes. So now both my kids are in school, so I have no excuse. But I don't know who told me this. I forgot who told me this, but they said you have to put your workout in your calendar like it's a meeting. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I do now because I don't ever miss meetings, but I'll miss a
Mm-hmm.
workout, so I put it
Yeah.
in as a meeting now. So
Awesome. I need to do that too. I'm inspired by you. I'm going to get a workout in after this. So tell me about Entrepreneur of the Year. Were you surprised? Like, tell me all about that. Like,
yes, I was actually shocked. I mean, I'm honored. I just feel like I didn't really know the qualifications to become an entrepreneur of the year. Um,
uh-huh.
but definitely I'm very honored and I'm just grateful for my community and my family and everybody who kind of helped me get me into that position. But now I feel like I need to just be better and do better, because now I have a title of Entrepreneur of the Year. So just working on that. But I'm grateful and I'm really honored. I don't really know how that happened, but
Well, it's so funny because so we had you on last year. It was before you opened the Alamoana one. It was like
Mhm.
I think early last year, maybe like very beginning of last year, and you like had announced that you were opening up your second location. And I feel like after that, just watching you, like watching your growth, it was like that emoji, that rocket ship emoji. That was you. It's like, phew, like you just went like crazy exponential growth last year. It was
Yeah,
so
trying to
cool to
stay
watch.
motivated and always pushing your boundaries and your limits. I think you have to keep doing it and not getting into a place where we're so comfortable.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm younger. I'm not young anymore, but I'm younger and I feel like a lot more energy. Both my kids are in school, so I want to take advantage of that. That I can do all of it now. My parents would say, why don't you slow down? I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna feel like that 10 years from now. I might, someone's like, you're gonna be doing sports, every single day, every
Yeah.
single weekend in 10 years. So I'm like, okay, well, I might as well do what I can now and just go after it and just keep doing it, because that's some great, it's great momentum and it's great energy around that.
Yeah, isn't that a game changer when both the kids are in school?
Yes, it
I
really
remember,
is.
yeah, I
It's
remember
really tough, but we need it, because my goodness, my kids drive me crazy.
that.
Routine, routine for them. They need a good
Yeah.
routine. They thrive off routine. I thrive off a
Mhm.
routine. And sometimes we get off that routine, and now we're back to routine. Today's Monday, so
um we had asked last week, we had asked some of our followers to like send us questions for these things,
Mhm,
and there was one that came in and I was like, ooh, I want to talk to Lexi about this one because it's kind of a sensitive subject, I feel like, but
mhm,
I mean, I just want to like have conversation around it. So one of the questions was, what are like private school versus public school,
mhm,
and that balance between like what do we do for our kids to get good quality education,
mhm,
and still be able to live in Hawaii. And I'm like, oh, that's a tough question because like I don't want to offend either side, but I've been on both sides. Like I've
mhm.
been like, I'm a public school kid. Now my kids go to private school. And it's hard. I know your kids are younger, but have you thought about like what you're gonna do once they get like kindergarten age?
I'm actually still learning. I don't really know any of this. But from
Mhm.
my experience, I was a private school. I went private school, and I actually got kicked out of private school. Um, so I am a commitment school kick out. So, and then I did go to public school. So I did have the best of both worlds, I'd say.
Mhm.
But maybe just like instilling in our kids, um, I think everything at home is really important. And
Yeah.
that is probably, well, that's what I'm learning, I feel like. And that's what I hear from my
Mhm.
parents is it doesn't matter what school, it's parent involvement, and it's
Mhm.
showing up for our kids, which is important, and that kind of sets the foundation of whatever school they go to. And
Mhm. For
I
sure.
read a lot, so I read, the difference between, why is private school better than public school, why is public school better than private school. But from, I think, my experience, it in public school, I'm going to be honest, you just have a lot of distractions. um
Yep.
and in private school, I might not have had that much distractions. And
Mhm.
it's about creating, for me, what's important now is about creating opportunities for
Mhm.
both keiki in public and in private school. So, and
Mhm.
just creating that mindset for them is really important, and that starts at home. So
Yep.
whatever school you go to, giving both keiki the same opportunities and helping them create a strong mindset at home, I think, is
Mhm.
important. So whatever school you may go to, using that, and using, it's especially if we had distractions, I'd say in public school a little bit more distractions than private school, because
Mhm.
everybody comes from all different types of backgrounds, I
Yep.
learned.
Mhm.
um
Yep.
Everybody's upbringing is different. Yeah, so I can go all day about private and public school, but I'm actually
Yeah.
still learning. I want to know any
Yeah.
tips and tricks, what I can do, but I feel like it's all my dad will tell me this, and my dad had kids go Punaho and Kamehameha schools, homeschooled,
Yeah.
public school. My stepdad has 9 kids, so a range of different types of
He's
keiki,
experienced
but
all of it.
yes, so it is really about just what is going on at home.
I like that. No, I don't know if you're experiencing this, but I remember when I was had the two girls, and they're about like the same age difference as your boys. But when they were like babies and getting into like daycare preschool, I
Mhm,
was already getting all of this like outside like pressure, like, oh,
mhm,
you need to send them to this school because this
mhm.
is a feeder school to Punaho.
Right.
And it started so young. And I was like, wait, like, wait, what are you talking about? And the pressure I feel, I don't know if it's like a Hawaii thing or maybe just like in the circles that I was in, but they're like, oh no, like I have you need to try for Punahou or Iolani, and this is back when we were on Oahu. And like that pressure was real. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. And like how much money I'm going to have to make to send
Yeah.
both of my kids to these schools. Like it was so crazy. It was too much.
Yeah.
And I'm still, I mean, my girls are third grade, fifth grade now. And we're doing the whole private school thing, paying for 2 tuitions in
Wow.
Waimea. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm in it, but I still don't know if it's worth it.
I
I'm
do think
like,
public school, I think it just also depends on your, like what my parents says, it depends on your child's, like
yeah.
can they, be to that level? Like what do your each child needs, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for
More
me, I think it
individual.
was important to me go private school at first because I needed the structure and I was kind of kalohe. So private school was for me until that point. But I don't think there's like my husband, he is proud Kailua High School, and he's like, we're
Yeah.
sending the boys to Kailua. I said, what? Like, I guess for me, it's like there's a standard that I do have to live up to. And I feel like both me and my husband's parents worked so hard
Yeah.
to give us such a life that we live now that I want to
And you
continue
want to give your
that,
kids the best, like if
right?
you're able to, right? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so if
I
you
want to.
can pay for private school, then by all means, that's how I look at things. But I feel like public school, like it gives you grit and it gives you like that's real
Mhm.
life. And
Yeah.
I've been in positions where I'd say like, they say you're high maka maka, and then I'm a Kamehameha girl going to a public school. Like life got really real for me real quick.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
went to Kamehameha School straight to Waikea High School. So it's two
Yeah.
different worlds. And
Yeah.
at Kamehameha Schools, I was really spoiled and I had, good structure and great teachers. And at public school, that's real life. You're, you're meeting a lot of people and some people aren't nice and like
Yeah.
a lot of kids come from different backgrounds, so it's hard. But I do believe now that I did go to Kamehameha schools and Waikea High School and I went to Kamehameha down here, that's why I have so many friends, because I really like nurtured my
Mhm.
relationships in different schools. So I know so many people to this day. I'm like, oh my god, I went to school with you. And so it's good in the
Yeah.
end to bounce around
Yeah.
to different schools because you make a lot of friends. But
No, that grit that you mentioned is real because I feel like if I didn't go, I always wonder like if I didn't go to KU, like if I would be
yeah, I can
as like
imagine Ka'u.
driven. But KU was such a small school. Everybody
Mhm.
knew everybody. It was a safe place. We were like of out in the middle of nowhere, so we didn't have like the so much of the pressures from like the city, Hilo and Kona. Like we were just out there in the middle of nowhere, and so like the environment was very safe to me. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Kuu is like rough," and people are
Yes,
scary, and I'm like,
yes.
"No, no, that's my people." But it also, I think, to prove myself, maybe like I always had this like chip on my
Yes,
shoulder, like I need to prove myself. Like I didn't come from like a fancy school, so I need to prove myself. So I would work extra hard to
yes,
get
I love
whatever
that.
I would be able to get.
Yes,
Yeah. So I don't. I mean, I don't know. It is whatever you make out of
yes.
it. There's
I
opportunities,
mean, if I
big
lived
schools,
in a perfect world, my kids would be homeschooled and I probably would go crazy.
small.
But, we're not for my mental health. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but just definitely what we can do for our kids and giving them both opportunities and helping them create this mindset where it doesn't need to be what it was 10 years ago and what it was for our parents. So I think really like nurturing that and helping the kiki kind of understand that is probably like part of our mission. So
Yeah, I love that. That's
giving
good
them
perspective.
opportunities for everyone, whether you're going to Punahou, whether you're going to Waikea, because and then
Mhm.
having that start back at home and what we can do as parents to help create that and give them both opportunities.
I love it. That's great. I love it. All right, so it's the end of January. So we're 1 month into 2024. Tell me about what you have coming up for this year. What do you have
Wow.
planned?
um my goodness. I felt like the first 2 weeks of January we were moving slow. It was nice. We got to rest a little and now we are like tunnel vision. for the rest of 2024. But there's just this good energy I love about January. It's just new beginnings and just,
Yeah.
resolutions and just wanting to be better, I think, this year. But
Hmm.
yeah, Lexbreezy is guns blazing. We're excited. We're
Not
getting
slowing down
ready.
anytime soon.
No, we're getting ready for a pop up next week in Las Vegas. That we're collaborating with one of my old bosses at Farmers Market Hawaii. So we're all getting together
Oh,
and we're
fun.
excited because there's just this huge community of Hawaii and Hawaiians in Las Vegas. It's so crazy. So we're excited because
Yeah.
that's a lot of our friends and family. So just being a part of that community is just, it feels like you're home.
Oh,
Um,
that just gave me chicken skin.
yes,
Oh, that's so awesome.
thousands of
I love
Hawaii
that.
people all come together, and it's a very close knit Hawaii community up there. So we are gonna be part of their pop up next month. Um, we're actually
Are you
getting
going to
ready.
be there for Super Bowl?
Yes, we're gonna be there for Super Bowl. I'm not really a
Oh
Super
my
Bowl
gosh, how
fan,
fun.
so we have a pop up that day. So um, I'm more of a Taylor Swift fan.
Well, she will be
I'm
there too.
Taylor, yeah. But after that, we're actually getting ready to hopefully open another store. We're in the talks of
Oh my
that.
gosh.
We're moving into a new warehouse. We're getting ready for the Merry Monarch, which I hope to see you. So
Oh,
stop by our booth.
yes. Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
kind of the excitement right now is we're preparing for Merry Monarch, which is earlier this year. So we are already going crazy knowing that we don't have that extra 2 weeks that we normally do.
You
And
guys crushed it at Merry Monarch last year.
yep,
I
so it
couldn't
actually
believe. I
takes
was
8
like
years.
the line to get into your tent was like insane.
We get so much support from Hilo and the Big Island.
Mm,
So we're so grateful. And Lex
we're so proud of
Breezy's
you.
anniversary is actually during Merry Monarch. So that's actually where we started was at Merry Monarch. I don't know,
That's
forget
right.
what year it was, but celebrating that. And then after that, we are Mana Up is having a pop up in New York City in Soho.
Oh my
So
gosh,
we're
how
getting ready for
fun.
that. Hopefully, we get to go. Cross our fingers, it all works out. But in between that, trying to just enjoy and spend time with my family. Got spring break and all of that. So, and then we're already on to the summertime, which we're hoping to open up our next store. We're trying to figure out where our best
Oh
location
my
is.
gosh.
But it's good because they
Well, I
really, really
guess
want us. So
I want you to bring it to the Big Island, but I do see some of the stuff, your stuff at Simply Sister sometimes.
yeah,
So
so
I'm
we
like,
try to keep their store stocked. So we'll be
yeah,
at Mary Monarch at my mom's booth again. So we'll be there all week and we're excited. I love Mary Monarch. It's for me, it's like the best time of the year
it
because we
is.
celebrate
It's
things.
pretty
So
magical.
yeah, it really is. So I hope I see you.
I know. We need to plan a little Lex Breezy birthday party at Mary. How many years?
We turn 8 this year.
Wow. Lucky
Yeah.
number 8.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what's one thing I guess you want to like put out there for into the universe for this year? Like, do you have a power word or do you have anything?
Power word. Um I just spoke at that panel with Creative Morning and the word was rise. So I think this year I think that's my power word this year is rise to the occasion.
Yes,
And like they say rise is a verb which requires you to do the rising. So
I love
whatever
that. Mhm.
space you're at right now, continuing to rise and continuing to, I think, nurture that. So I think that
Uh,
for me, that's what I'm working on, rising to get my mind right, my body right, and just doing it.
I love it. That gave me chicken skin again. You are doing it and you're inspiring so many people along the way. So keep doing it, girl. I'm
Thank you,
so proud
Colby.
of
You
you.
too. Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a good day.
You
Love
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my long rant on public versus private school. Thank you for supporting us. Please continue to like and subscribe. It really does help us with the analytics world that we are still trying to understand. but it really helps us with our podcast when you subscribe. So please do, to our Spotify, to our YouTube, to our Apple Podcast. And we will continue doing these Uncut BTS every Monday. And we have a new episode coming up tomorrow with Augie T. Please don't miss that one. That one's really funny. We had so much fun. Thanks, guys. Have a great Monday. Mwah.